Hey Shakers, and welcome to Worth Your Salt, the podcast that shakes up your marketing game in the health and wellness industry. Worth Your Salt is brought to you by Salt Marketing. Salt Marketing helps health and wellness practitioners build trust and authority to attract a steady stream of inbound wellness seekers. For more information, you can visit us online at saltmarketing.co. I'm Jennifer Orechwa, StoryBrand Certified Guide, Marketing Strategist with Salt Marketing, and your host for today's episode of Worth Your Salt. As a health and wellness practitioner, it can be easy to be so focused on your work and your clients' results that you hardly think about what you're wearing. It's a common scenario. We prioritize comfort and practicality, often overlooking the powerful impact that our wardrobe can have on building authority and trust and credibility with our clients. The solution is paying attention to your wardrobe choices. The result is a more confident, credible, and impactful presence in your professional life. That's why today I am so excited to be talking with Solita Roberts, founder of Style to Impact, who specializes in helping entrepreneurs and emerging leaders elevate their signature style. Solita's unique approach to fashion goes beyond your appearance. She crafts tailored looks that align with your brand and values, empowering you to show up boldly in your work. And while you might think this advice is just for female practitioners, there's plenty of valuable information here for men as well. Solita is going to share her expertise with us on how your intentional wardrobe choices can enhance your professional presence and make a lasting impact in the health and wellness industry. Solita, I'm so grateful to have you here to talk about this today.
Oh, Jennifer, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to just dive into this nice coffee chat of a conversation.
Absolutely. So first, I'm really curious. Tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get started in this industry?
Coming from banking and finance, I spent over 15 years there. Very male dominated. I'm going to start with the fact that I'm 5 feet, super petite. So stepping into those rooms were not only intimidating, but also I found out that, felt a bit invisible in those spaces. And so one of the things that I really wanted to do after, again, 15 years, I was like, I'm done. Until one day, my first client, I'll never forget her, was a lawyer, just sent me a message. I was creating these flat lays on Instagram that shows different ways of styling pieces. I mean, I kind of pivot back to that era recently just to bring back some of that joy and fun and relief of stress for me. And how can you style your jeans different ways and just kind of creating options. And she messaged me and she was like, how do you work with clients? And I'm like, sorry, what? I've never worked with anyone. I was doing this for fun. And so just having that conversation with her and understanding, here she was also petite, but had just I think just about every woman that I've encountered throughout my work is that there's some form of self-consciousness when it comes to our body, our weight, how our clothes fit.
And I think most of us suffer from that imposter syndrome, walking into a room where we don't feel like we fit, and our appearance can change that for us. And I know you emphasize the importance of authenticity through appearance. So how can we apply that philosophy to build credibility and trust with our clients, our patients, and really the industry at large?
Yeah, authenticity for a lot of us when we hear it is oh, it's a buzzword. How can I be my authentic self? No one is going to accept me as my true and full authentic self. And I say yes and yes. Okay. Being your authentic self means that, the way that I look at it, at least, it means that I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm never going into a room or into a space shrinking myself, thinking that I need to be someone in order to fit into that room, right? I need to speak a certain way to fit into that room. It's who am I? And walking into that space is owning your power. And one of the ways that you really show your authentic self is through the way that you express yourself, through your wardrobe, the choices of, type of clothing that you wear, the colors that you choose to wear. And so for me, just looking at your personal style from that standpoint allows you to incorporate so much of your personality into your style, which then opens the door for conversations that you might not have thought possible with people. I give you an example of that. So for me, and a lot of people may not, if you're following me on social, you may see me talk about it. You may see images of it. I'm originally from the Caribbean. And one of the things that I absolutely enjoy is carnival. And that is not carnival in the American or European sense where it's like you go to a park and it's like a fair. It's like, no, you're wearing an actual costume. You can Google Caribbean Carnival costume and you'll see what that looks like. And I was what we call a mass player. You will wear the costume, you'll be a part of the band. And I absolutely loved it, not just for the sense of freedom and empowerment that I felt in myself and in my body, but also being able to have fun with colors. And the way that I now translate that into my personal style is having fun with more colors in my wardrobe. I very seldom wear black. I very seldom wear neutral colors. There's always going to be some form of pop of color to my outfit. Like right now, I know no one can see it, but I'm wearing a pink top. Like it's on brand and it makes me feel great. But it allows me to tell the story of me. It allows me to share something about myself that's not on my bio, that, may not be in my, like, if you, healthcare industry, that someone may not typically know about you. And that allows you to foster that bond. So when you think about authenticity and who you are, it's like, how can I incorporate more of who I am into my wardrobe? And that can come from a cultural perspective, like incorporate more cultural pieces, or just from a love of something that you just generally like about life and about, just being a human being in this world.
Yeah. So I know you kind of describe yourself as a high functioning introvert. So how did your personal experiences in that realm sort of influence your views on the power of clothing and style?
What I realized, I talked about this a little bit earlier, where as an introvert, understanding the power of what you wear as a form of invitation for conversations, especially when you're networking, especially when you are, in a room of a lot of your peers that you're meeting for the first time, and you really want to have that presence and impact, but you may not be that person that's going to walk into a room and announce your presence, even as an introvert. Even though I may be that awkward person when it comes to walking up to someone and introducing myself for the very first time, my wardrobe does the heavy lifting for me. Sure. And I love that about when you're strategic about your clothing choices, when you're strategic about what you're wearing and what presence you want to have in the room, your wardrobe does that heavy lifting for you.
So what does it mean to you for your clients to embrace who they are through their style? How does this impact their confidence and their leadership presence?
So I find it with leaders, if we're able to really break that societal expectation or norms or traditions as to how women specifically, I'm going to speak specifically here, women should show up, then we're able to impact generations that's coming up, right? They have that sense of freedom to know, oh, I can walk into, an industry, whatever that industry is, and knowing that I can be myself. Yes, you do have to pay attention to the dress code that the industry is that you're in, but you also don't feel restricted by those old traditional ways of dressing. I mean, think about it. I came from finance, and finance background uniform is the navy blue, black, grays. And for someone in that space may feel like, oh, why, I don't have the freedom to do that. But as a leader, what I did is, yes, I stayed true to the dress code in terms of it's traditional, very much so, staying within that space, but I incorporated colors in that. What that did is, conversations that I will have with customers, they felt a little bit more like I wasn't being that stucky in the box kind of person because I didn't look like that person. And then it opens that type of conversations for us to, have talks about their finances and feeling like, okay, this is someone that they can trust.
And it's interesting, the correlation there, because you talk about, being in the world of finance. And I think that that's true for a lot of our listeners as well. They need to be respected. They're doctors, they're functional wellness practitioners, they work in med spas. And so, the white coat conveys a certain amount of credibility. And I know you primarily work with women, but how could this advice also be applied to men? Like, how can they build stronger connections with clients through how they present themselves?
Yeah, I am one of those persons that love to see anyone that can step out of the norm when it comes to dressing. And so for men, it's like the general, let's get the blue suit and the white button down and maybe the blue tie. It's okay to wear if that person may gravitate to the navy blue suit. It works for them. but maybe you're a fun person who loves colors, but you don't feel as confident or comfortable like wearing a navy blue pants and a pink shirt inside. But you can start small. You can start small with fun socks. I think men's socks collection are the best. Like, and you can also do that with ties, right? Instead of going for the traditional solid blue tie or black tie, it's like have fun colors because that allows you to. And that's also another thing, right? When we think about the healthcare industry, and it's just yes, there's the white coat, you can wear that, but you can still add your personality too, because you're wearing your clothing under that, right? So there are ways for you to still have your personality come through that and still being able to incorporate those fun pieces. I mean, I had one client who was in the medical field and she worked with kids. And so one of the ways that we worked to really bring out her personal style and really have it connect with the kids, like you are attending to kids who oftentimes may be scared if they're sick. And so having one of the things, she did was like have bracelets that were fun. They had like these playful animal characters on there. So while she's talking to the kids, like going through the procedures, they're like super focused on her bracelet. Right? And so even like just generally for both men and women, it's like in the medical field, like how can you incorporate some of those fun things into your wardrobe so that your patients you put them at ease and they do feel that sense of, okay, this is someone who, I can really get comfortable with and have that level of trust going into the process of, what they're seeking to know that someone is there to really support them throughout their journey.
Well, and speaking of comfort, a lot of our practitioners are also they're fitness, they are massage therapists, they have to do a lot of physical movement and things like that. So how can you incorporate a personal style when you're kind of on the go all the time?
Oh, no, I think the fitness, like just taking that as an example, like athleisure wear is really blown up. Like I've looked at the styles, I've looked at the colors right now, and it's just one of the most important things. I'll say this across the board. Fit is important. Fit is important. And fit does not mean tight. Fit does not mean oversized. Fit for me means the piece that you're wearing, one, it matches your personality because you may be someone who needs a little bit more room based on just your comfort level, as well as what you're doing, a little bit more room in the pieces that you're wearing. You may be someone who need less room, but the point is that you have to ensure that whatever you're wearing fits your body. And so I find just being in the fitness industry and just being in that space allows you to have a little bit more fun because you can get away from your basic black leggings, or even if you decide that you're going to do that basic black leggings. Leggings now are not coming the same way. Like the cut is different. There may be some mesh pieces. There may be some, some patterns to it. It's like have a little bit more fun with it. Because then your audience is they look at you like exercise should be fun. It's like if I dread it, and the person that's going to be like, if we're doing some form of exercise routine, it's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a lot.
Yeah, and I love what you were saying a minute ago about incorporating carnival into your professional wardrobe. I'm really intrigued by all of this. I have so many more questions. I have to take a quick sponsorship break right now, but when we come back, I want to get into the specifics of your solutions. Hey there, Salt Nation. Jennifer Orechwa here. And if you're like most of the health and wellness practitioners I've been talking to recently, you're feeling the market shift. More discerning clients, rising costs, and what feels like a never-ending struggle to grow your practice. That sound familiar? I've got something that's going to make a big difference for you. Our brand new report, Urgent Market Shift, What Health and Wellness Practitioners Must Do Now to Scale and Thrive. This isn't just more industry noise. It's packed with actionable insights and real-world strategies to help you cut through the overwhelm and confidently grow your practice in today's changing landscape. If you're ready to make that shift, head over to saltmarketing.co/shift to grab your free copy. Again, that's saltmarketing.co/shift. Can't wait to see your practice thrive. I'm back here on the Worth Your Salt podcast with Solita Roberts. Solita is a style coach who helps people develop an appearance that boosts their confidence, aligns with their brand, and enhances their professional presence. We're talking about how health and wellness practitioners can strategically use their wardrobe to build authority, trust, and credibility with their clients. So, Solita, can you explain what your style shift session entails? What do clients expect from this service?
A style shift session is basically what we're doing is exploring what you want your style to look like. We're making a shift from what your style was or currently is. That doesn't align with the person that you are or who you're becoming. We will talk about, it's 45 minutes, and we will talk about, okay, where are you currently with your style? What are some challenges that you're experiencing? What are some mindset? And that's key as well. For me, styling starts with your mindset. What is your style? What do we need to remove and what do we need to add? And then, of course, we go to the next step of what needs to happen for you.
Very nice. So a lot of people talk about capsule wardrobes. It's sort of like that minimalist, impactful approach to it. How do you approach a capsule wardrobe? What benefits have you seen from it?
Stop Googling and taking all the advice that you see on the internet. Because the reason I say I think just coming from my Caribbean background and just the fact that when I got into styling, it was a form of self-expression and a form of creativity for me. I don't follow style rules. And I find like sometimes some of the rules that we find on the internet and some of the ways that you go about doing certain things, like how do you build a capsule wardrobe? And most of the time you will see a capsule wardrobe talking about starting with neutral colors and just building with 10 pieces as a minimalist. It's like, no, does that represent who I am? That's the first question. Does this way of creating a capsule wardrobe that you might have researched or you might have seen, does it represent who you are? If it's no, it's absolutely no. So the way that I work with my clients when we're creating capsule, because I'm from the Caribbean, I only know one season, right? And that's summer. So, but now living in the US, it's like, there are 4 seasons, but Solita, yes, I just said Solita, talking to myself like that, will not buy an entire wardrobe for fall, summer, winter, but like I'm not going to do that. So I have my basics, and it's the same thing I teach my clients. My lifestyle is very much so active and rigorous, and you build your wardrobe around that. And as well as you look at like what are the pieces, like colors do I want to add, right? What works for me? And yes, you can have a wardrobe with different colors, and they work. Right? You do not need to build a capsule wardrobe with just the black and gray. It's like, oh yes, they're going to allow you to create multiple pieces. Like I'm very much so a color lover. If you are a color lover and it's something that you you want to step into, and it's like, how do I do this? Because maybe you don't want to wear a pink dress. Maybe that feels over the top for you. Can you start with a bag, a scarf? So building your capsule wardrobe should very much so be built around the authentic person that you are, the lifestyle that you have, and the impact that you want to have in the rooms that you're going.
That makes sense. And I know you live in Atlanta, so you probably get 4 seasons in one day. So, limiting your seasonality. Yeah, for sure. So I'm curious, can you share with us a success story where a client significantly benefited from what you do, and particularly in terms of their professional growth and their own confidence?
Oh, I've had a couple of those that I'm like super proud of the impact that the women that I've worked with have had in not only their personal journey, but their professional journey. And there's one client that I can specifically highlight, worked in, I seem to attract women within the medical field as well. Work in that industry as a pharmacist, public health pharmacist, and during the pandemic was one of those persons that really helped to spread the message within her community and really help with even issuing, vaccines and those types of things. But one of the things that she was on that verge of really becoming a lot more public facing, going on to a lot more, doing a lot more interviews on television. And of course, she was about to, venture into that space of doing a TED Talk. It's like, what do I wear? How do I show up in this space? And if you've ever looked at TED Talks, generally it's blue, red, black. Someone may throw in a pink but not like a lot. But the colors are standard that you will see women will wear when they're giving a TED talk. And so she's like, okay, I need you to style me because I really want to not only use this platform that I'm going to go on to expand my communications side of my business, being able to go into different, organizations and speak to them on healthcare, speak to, having a larger audience. And so we talked about what that would look like. Like, what do you want your style to look like? What is your message? That was one of the things that we focused on, is really what was her message and how can we tie her personal style into that message? And her message was, the messenger really does need to look like the message, like the messenger needs to match the message, right?
Yeah.
Like the person who's delivering the message needs to look like the people that they're delivering that message to. And so we're going to be bold. That was my first thing. I was like, yeah, we're going to be bold because we're making a bold statement here. And so we went with this beautiful neon, was yellow green. And she was like, I remember sending it to her, didn't get any response. I saw the delivery, didn't get any response. And I sent her a text message, like, did you get the package? She's like, yes, I did. But it's so bright. I'm like, did you try it on? She's like, not as yet. I'm like, try it on, take a picture, see how you feel. Let's talk about it. She took a picture of it, sent it to me, and her response was, oh, it just needs ironing. It's beautiful.
Well, there you go.
Right. But just the fact that we stepped out of her comfort zone, stepped out of what was the norm, and really deciding to tie that message and that image together. The day that she delivered her TED Talk, stepped on that stage. I was not there, but she shared it with me. She stepped on the stage and automatically everyone went, but it wasn't like a, oh, wow, did you know? It was like, applause. And she did not say a word.
Very nice.
It was just one of those feelings for me. It's like, oh, wow, the impact is real.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great story. All right, Solita, it's time for another quick break. We'll be right back after this. Hey, Salt Nation, you're listening to the Worth Your Salt podcast. I'm Jennifer Orechwa, and today I'm talking with Solita Roberts, style strategist and founder of Style to Impact, dedicated to empowering entrepreneurs and leaders to elevate their professional presence through personalized and authentic wardrobe choices. We'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're dressing for success, so be sure to join Salt Marketing over on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook and tell us about your wardrobe strategy. So, Solita, what aspects of your work with Style to Impact do you find most fulfilling? What drives your passion for helping people elevate their style?
Seeing the changes in how they feel about themselves, right? It goes beyond just the clothing choices, just the sheer joy and realization like, okay, I can feel great about myself. I can invest in myself. I don't have to, restrict myself to these mindset beliefs that I have. For so many of us, we are constantly judging ourselves. We're constantly thinking that we don't belong in the spaces, and just being able to see the sheer joy on my clients' faces, the stories that they share in terms of, walking into a room and everyone is now like, oh, wow, I love the way you look. And just knowing that when they look in the mirror, the stories that they're saying to themselves is not, I am not worthy. It's no, I'm powerful. I am, I'm awesome. I'm fantastic. And just having that growth in internal belief and really allowing the way they feel about themselves to just really change that and being more open to just the joy that comes and freedom that comes from when you accept yourself fully.
I love that. And so for people who are in the health and wellness industry and they really want to build trust and credibility because they're providing solutions that really have to do with, people's longevity and their lifestyle, what kind of key pieces or style tips would you recommend that they incorporate to convey that trustworthiness?
We were talking earlier because I was wearing these earrings that were making noise while we were recording. And that is something like when you're thinking about your key pieces, again, it's going back to who you are, right? And going back to the activities based on your career that you're doing on a regular basis, the clients that you're meeting. Are you standing a lot? Are you sitting a lot? Are you moving a lot? If you are talking to a patient about, a health issue that they're having, and all they're hearing is your earrings going like this sound, just banging, it's like, okay, that's distracting, right? And so just paying attention to those little things and thinking about, what are you wearing that's going to put someone at ease? But can you incorporate different fun ways into like expressing yourself into your wardrobe? There's some women or some people who like colorful hair. Maybe that's something that you want to explore. But really, the most important thing that I want the audience to take away from this conversation, when it comes to your personal style, you have to build it from who you are. You have to then build that from, once you understand who you are, is understanding what is the power and presence I want into that room. So I can tell you, thinking about your preferences when it comes to building your wardrobe, what are the things you prefer? And then, of course, finding pieces that are unique to you that you can style in a way that really allows you to express your personal style and your personality.
Well, and so aside from things like jingly earrings, what are some common mistakes that people make when they're trying to dress authentically and confidently? How can we avoid those kind of pitfalls?
First of all, we expect that when we go into the stores, whatever we buy will fit us. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If you do find something that fits you right out from the store, count yourself lucky. That's a very rare, occurrence. So investing in a tailor, making a tailor your best friend, and knowing that if you're going to a store and you're looking for that clothing based on, I don't say size, I say measurements based on your body measurements, your 34 waist, 24 hips, whatever it is, and you bought something based on that, but it still doesn't fit you right. This is where you go to a tailor and get them to tailor that outfit to fit your body, right? So those are some of the things that mistakes, so to speak, or things that generally persons don't pay attention to when it comes to their wardrobe and how their clothing should fit. What are the choices? How to really create different looks for themselves, even though you're looking in the world for inspiration, but you're not trying to create that person's look for yourself. And then at the end of the day, you're feeling uncomfortable with whatever you're wearing.
So other than finding an alterations person as our new bestie, can you provide some other actionable steps that we can take to start aligning our wardrobe with our personal brand and our values?
So we really document our myths and beliefs. Created this framework is called DARE, and it's adding to that is Dare to Wear, right? And then is to affirm ourselves. It's okay to be my authentic self. It's okay to show up as the only person in this room wearing something of, wearing a color piece. It's okay for me to step out of that box. And then the R is to really release, right? Release those limitations that you have on yourself. Like, I should not wear pink, I should not wear blue, or I should not wear pants, skirt, like whatever those limitations are that you're holding on to. And then, of course, E is really to tap into your style of expressing yourself, right? Like, what are those pieces that you want to add? And then, of course, create a budget. You do not have to go buying an entire wardrobe, like spending your monthly earnings on your wardrobe pieces. Like, you can strategically budget for the pieces that you need. You determine what those priorities are based on what the gaps that's in your wardrobe, and of course, what is it you need right now.
That makes perfect sense. So if our listeners are interested in working with you, or if they're just like unsure where to start, where do you recommend is the first step in their style transformation journey?
The first step is with a style shift. And you can go on my website, which is style2impact.com. There's a button right there that says book a style shift. That's the first step of working with me, that we have to have that conversation to understand exactly where you are right now in your style journey. And of course, from there, we will discuss like, what is your next step for you? What does that look like? If we're working mostly on mindset and then style, or are we working on your style mostly, and in what aspect of that, what does that look like? Is it a case where you need to remove things from your wardrobe, or it's a case where you need to fill in the gaps because you've already done that and you really want to know how to do that effectively? and being able to manage your wardrobe in a way that allows you to wear all your pieces and be able to feel that level of joy and freedom in your personal style and how you present yourself in the spaces that you're in.
Very nice. Of course, links to the Style to Impact website, as well as all the ways that you can connect with Solita, will be available on our website at saltmarketing.co. But right now, Solita, it is time for our lightning round questions. These are a few quick questions that I like to ask of every guest. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm excited.
All right.
I'm nervous.
First question is, what is something about you that often surprises people?
Most that I'm not as introverted as I look, I would say. So, but most of the times, whenever I'm in a room, I tell people I can very much so become an extrovert when I'm advocating for myself or others.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect all of that to come out of that tiny person. I'm like, don't be judging me by my size.
That's a good way to surprise people. All right, next question. What is your favorite thing about the work that you do?
Right now, one of the things that I really love is empowering women through style to be able to have that sense of freedom and be themselves, and knowing that they are worthy of investing in themselves and worthy of a wardrobe that really supports their dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
So when I was in college, my history professor was doing a lecture one day, and she said, "Why are you guys not writing?" And we're like, "Oh, we're listening to you." She's like, "You should be writing." And she's like, "Remember this, the shortest pencil is longer than the longest memory."
Like that. Yeah, that's really good. That one's going to stick with me for sure. All right, last question. Who is inspiring you right now? What podcasts are you listening to, or what's the best book that you've read recently?
Oh, so currently I am reading this book called The Power is Within You. It's by Louise Hay, Louise, last name Hay, and that's called The Power is Within You. I think it's just one of those books that really, again, goes back to my core values of working with my clients on personal style and starting from within and understanding that we have the power to change, just about any and everything about ourselves and our circumstances if we truly believe in ourselves. And that belief comes from within us, right? It doesn't come from other people. It doesn't come from, all the external things. But if we work on really connecting that power and confidence within ourselves, then we're unstoppable.
I love that. Solita, thank you so much for joining me today on this week's episode of Worth Your Salt. Thank
you very much for having me. This was a really fun conversation. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone that's listening to this conversation as well.
Yeah, definitely. Let's thank our listeners. We want to thank you, Salt Nation. If you've had a great success story, I would love to talk with you and share your story with our audience. So tell us about why you're worth your salt by emailing us at grow@saltmarketing.co. And of course, be sure to subscribe to Worth Your Salt so you never miss an episode. Leave us a review or give the show a handful of stars wherever you get your content. That's all for this episode of Worth Your Salt. Be sure to join me again next time. In the meantime, let's get out there and shake things up.